I went to prison in 2013 for 7 robberies in 10 days. And on that first robbery, me and my co-defendant, we ran into the store. He jumps over the counter, he grabs a lady and takes her to the cash register. Whoever this guy was, he was either the owner or the manager. I grabbed him, got him on his knees, and I had a gun to his head. And I was telling her in Spanish, open up the register, you got 30 seconds or this dude is gonna die. And she's calling out and she's screaming out that she doesn't know the code, which I know she knows the code. So I'm telling her, you got 30 seconds or I'm gonna blow this dude's brains out. But in the midst of me giving out these demands, I see something in my peripheral vision. I look over and it's this little girl that's sitting down right there on a chair a few feet away from me. And she must be about 7 or 8 years old. I don't know who she is to them, but she's there and she's giving me this horrified, terrified look. You know what I mean? Just looking at me. Of course, I'm masked up, but I can tell she's terrified by whoever I am. And despite the things that I was doing wrong, you know what I mean? I always had a code like no old people and no kids. No matter what I did, I didn't want kids or old people to be involved. So I looked at her and like in my calmest, nicest voice that I could, I told her, little girl, we're not here to hurt you. We're not gonna touch you. We're about to get out of here right now. And she, she nodded okay. I looked up, the lady was getting the money out the register. She put it in the bag. I told my co-defendant, let's get the fuck out of here. Let's ride out. And, that was 11 years ago, man. I don't know. So she's probably, maybe 18, 19 years old right now since 11 years ago. So I don't even know if that little girl gives it any thought or if she even remembers what happens that day. But I know for a moment in time after that day, that little girl, she had to have been traumatized. She probably had nightmares. She probably was scared to go to that store or go anywhere with those individuals because of what happened. Ain't no telling how that little girl was affected by it. You know what I mean? And I say all that to say this, like, whenever we're out there committing crime, we're living a life of crime, or just living life in general, like our actions, our words, we never know how somebody else is going to be affected by what we do. You know what I mean? But me, I'm speaking in general right now, as far as in a life of crime. You don't know what that robbery, what that murder, what that dope deal, you don't know who it's going to affect and how they're going to be affected by it. You know what I mean? I know it's easier said than done a lot of times when we're only thinking about ourselves and we're thinking about what we're going through at that present moment. And, we got to do for ourselves, whatever it is that's causing you to justify what you're going to do. Take time to consider, man, who's going to be affected by it and what could potentially happen. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more than just us that's going to be affected by that crime. You know what I mean? And so, like I say in all my stories, man, I don't say this to glorify or to boast. I say this to potentially help other people, get insight into what comes with the life of crime and potentially, help somebody else from going down to prison or potentially even dying. You know what I mean? So if you haven't already done so, go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to Prison Reform TV, and keep up with all my stories and my experiences and my insight of my life before prison, in prison, and after prison.